This is why I think Naruto FighterZ can save the Naruto franchise. Before we get started, please be sure to, hit the freaking like button, guys, alright? And if you're new here, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you guys so much. Just please do it. And let me know what kind of Naruto games you guys would want in the comment section below. And also, before we get started, to all my Boruto fans out there, I'm going to be talking crap about Boruto a lot in this video, so trigger warning for you. And I'll also be talking a lot of the good things, kinda, about Dragon Ball. So if those two things trigger you, I'm sorry, okay? This is just part of the video. I just need to get my point across, alright? So now, let's get started. I want to start out by saying Naruto is dead. Whether you like it or not, whether you love the Boruto series or absolutely hate it, Naruto is not doing as good as it was just a few years ago. Let's just go back a few years ago to 2017 when the Naruto anime was ending. Everybody, and I mean everybody, loved that Naruto vs Sasuke fight. So much so, there are thousands of reactions on YouTube of people watching their two favorite characters trying to stop one another with all their power. Now, if you were fortunate enough to grow up with Naruto, watching when you were younger to eventually seeing the two rivals' final battle, this moment was it. The moment everybody was waiting for. I mean, most people knew what was going to happen after the fight because, the manga had already ended just a few years prior. But to finally see the long-awaited final battle between Naruto and Sasuke in animated form, it was amazing. Unfortunately, I was not one of those people. I actually just started watching Naruto probably a year ago, and I actually wrapped up finishing it just a few months ago now. See, now when the Naruto anime ended in 2017, shortly after, the Boruto anime was announced, and this was where the Naruto franchise started to go downhill. You see, previously from 2014, after the manga ended, and 2017, shortly after the anime ended, the Naruto hype was at an all-time high because we somewhat knew what was coming next for the franchise. Because in 2015 was when Naruto Gaiden released, which took place several years after the Fourth Great Ninja War when Naruto was Hokage. And then we also had the Boruto movie come out the same year. So if there was an anime to come after Shippuden, they definitely had material. But then, on the dark, gloomy day of April 5th, 2017, Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, had aired its first episode.
What the fuck? Stop playing! What the fuck? Stop playing! What the fuck is that? Ah!
No. Listen, guys. I'm just kidding. If you like the Boruto anime, good for you. But in my opinion, it's trash. Okay, I hate it. It stinks worse than one of those the stink bombs or fart sprays. The things that you get at the ice cream truck when you were a kid or the dollar store. Those things used to stink. Okay, that's how bad I think the Boruto anime stinks. Okay, the manga is a different story, but the Boruto anime completely stinks. Okay, I'm sorry. In all seriousness, as of right now, the Boruto anime has done more harm than good. And before you press that dislike button, let me explain why. Before I take a giant poop, okay, a massive poop on Boruto, the anime, I want you all to know that I truly actually do like the Boruto manga, okay? It's just the Boruto manga and the Boruto anime are two totally different things, and I've made an entire video on why I love the Boruto manga, so I'm not really gonna get too far into it, but just know that I do appreciate the Boruto manga, and I do appreciate the source material, so please, Boruto freaking hardcore fans, don't attack me, okay? Just accept the fact that your anime is trash. I want to start out by saying Boruto isn't a manga or even an anime. It's just a product. See, when Naruto was being made, Kishi had a story he wanted to tell, which was how a nobody can become something, or more specifically, how Naruto, a child that everyone hated, could eventually gain the respect of the people in his village and become Hokage. Obviously, down the hill, Kishi kind of forgot about that storyline. It was a really major plot point in the beginning of Naruto, but as Shippuden went on, that plotline kind of got forgotten, especially since Naruto got his recognition in the Pain arc, and then eventually, later on, became the Hokage. I mean, eventually, the story, Naruto's arc, came to a close in a good way, but Boruto doesn't really have a story to tell. I mean, all the characters are either carbon copies of their parents or just boring, flat characters. Even the main villain is just another Kaguya. I will give it to Jigen, he does have a pretty cool design, but he's a boring character with motives that we've already seen. Whatever happened to cool, complicated villains like Orochimaru, Pain, or even Sorcery? Boruto isn't a story because nobody wants to tell it. it's just a product to cash in on that Naruto nostalgia. Don't get me wrong, I personally think some of what Boruto has come up with has been pretty cool. It's just, you can tell that it isn't being made to tell a story with deeper meanings threaded into it. It's just a product to milk whatever is left of Naruto. Especially the anime. It reeks of corporate interference, especially when Boruto was first airing. It took over a whole year just to adapt the beginning of the manga with episode 65. The reason most Naruto fans dislike the Boruto anime is due to, as the Boruto fans would say, anime canon. The show has barely adapted any of the manga material and has, for the most part, been doing its own thing. Most Boruto fans love the anime canon stuff, but personally, it just isn't for me. I'm gonna have to say that the game companies, more specifically Bandai Namco, also don't care for the Boruto anime canon, or at least know that the Boruto anime is nowhere near as popular as the Naruto anime. You see, I believe the reason we don't have a new Naruto or Boruto game is because of how the anime is doing, or how the people are receiving the anime. Since the large majority of the Boruto anime is anime canon, and barely adapts anything from the source material, I believe Bandai doesn't want to invest into a Boruto game because they know that Boruto isn't being received as good as Naruto or Naruto Shippuden was. Even if Bandai tried to make a new Naruto game, they have to throw Boruto's name on it. And if they wanted to make mainly a Boruto game, they would have to throw Naruto's name onto it. The reason is because Bandai isn't dumb enough to just make a Boruto game because they know it wouldn't sell as well as a Naruto game. But at the same time, they don't want to make a Naruto game because Naruto is over and the sequel is already out. You see, when Naruto and Naruto Shippuden were airing, we got games coming out left and right. For example, just recently, we had the Storm games and Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. But even before that, we had Naruto games coming out just about every year, with Naruto Clash of Ninja games, the Naruto Uzumaki Chronicle games, and the Naruto Ninja Council games, and much, much more, guys. So why has it been 2 years since we got our last Naruto game? Well, I have the answer, and some of you won't like it. The answer is Boruto. Now, if we were talking about the manga, then that's a different story, but sadly, it isn't always about the manga. It's actually more about the anime. Now let's talk about Dragon Ball, because I feel as if Naruto is in somewhat of a similar position Dragon Ball was in just a few years ago. Before Dragon Ball was revived with the Battle of Gods movie, the games we were getting were poopy, okay? If we got any at all. In 2010, we got Raging Blast 2, which apparently a lot of people dislike, but to be honest, I love the shit out of that game. Honestly, it was pretty sick. When I was a kid, I'd stay up till 2 in the morning playing the tournament mode. Then in 2011, we got Ultimate Tenkaichi, which it's fucking ass, okay? It's complete trash. It belongs with the trash bin that Black Clover Quarter Knights is in, okay? It's horrible. Then in 2012, we got Dragon Ball Z for Connect, which I'm not gonna roast it. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna. It's trash. I mean, it's Ultimate Tenkaichi clone with Connect controls that barely work. This is the epitome of trash anime games, okay? And you guys thought Jump Force was bad? No, okay, this game is trash. Then after that monstrosity, we had nothing for 2 years. Not a single game. No announcements, nothing. Then in 2014, a few months before Dragon Ball's revival, we got Dragon Ball Battle of Z, which I heard was pretty bad. Personally, I've never played it, so I can't really comment on this one. And then finally, in 2015, we got Dragon Ball Xenoverse. And ever since then, we've got some banger Dragon Ball games with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which I'd say Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is in between banger and okay, mediocre. That's a different game. That's actually a topic for a different video. And then finally, we got Dragon Ball FighterZ. You see, when the Dragon Ball anime came back, the Dragon Ball hype was at an all-time high. Whether you like the anime or not, the Dragon Ball franchise was making a lot of freaking money. Now, would Dragon Ball have gotten big again like it did if the anime was never created and the manga was the only thing we had? I'd say no. Because like I said earlier, it isn't always about the manga. It's more about the anime and how the anime is doing when it comes to the games. Now, we can finally talk about Dragon Ball FighterZ. Finally, it took long enough. Holy crap. Okay. If for whatever reason, okay, you're watching this video and you don't know about Dragon Ball FighterZ, well, it's basically a 2D Dragon Ball fighting game made by the legendary Arc System Works, who are also known for making the Guilty Gear games, which Personally, I've never played a Guilty Gear game. I only know Arc System because Dragon Ball FighterZ. I don't personally care about the Guilty Gear games, but if you do, good for you. See, I remember in 2017 when they announced Dragon Ball FighterZ, I was kind of iffy on a 2D Dragon Ball fighting game because at the time, I was dog trash at 2D fighting games. Fast forward to 2020, Dragon Ball FighterZ has sold over 5 million copies. It was the fighting game of the year in 2018. And going on 3 years later, the game is still getting massive updates and has a very consistent player base that love the game and love the competitive aspect of it. You see, Dragon Ball FighterZ isn't just a Dragon Ball game, it's a fighting game with the Dragon Ball logo slapped onto it. This means that when the game came out, a lot of fighting game players didn't care it was a Dragon Ball game. It was just a fun and somewhat balanced fighting game, which helped the game be as popular as it is. For example, Maximilian. When Dragon Ball FighterZ first came out, he had not even seen a single second of the Dragon Ball anime, but he played Dragon Ball FighterZ and made a bunch of videos on it. So he eventually gave the anime a shot and started to appreciate the game even more. You see, I believe Dragon Ball FighterZ transcends fandom. I mean, the game even got new people like Maximilian into the Dragon Ball series. Now this is where Naruto FighterZ comes in. Like I said in the beginning, Naruto isn't doing as good as it once was, and that is due to Boruto. I'm sorry, Boruto fans, it's just the truth. But just imagine, just for a second, we did get a Naruto FighterZ game. If we did get a Naruto FighterZ game, it could definitely bring new people into Boruto or the Naruto series as a whole, because all the game would need is just a split roster between Naruto and Boruto characters. It would have to be a really good fighting game at its core though, just like FighterZ. See, if the game was well made and at least somewhat balanced, I believe the fighting game community would go all in on the game, just like they did with Dragon Ball FighterZ at launch. The game obviously can't be named Naruto FighterZ, and they also need to throw Boruto's name onto it, so maybe Naruto x Boruto Ninja Strikers? Don't blame me for the name. I don't know. I made it up on the spot. Sorry. I believe a 2D fighting game would fit perfectly for Naruto as well, because that is what Naruto is most memorable for. The amazing fights. Now, I don't want to get deep into what they could have into the game. That's a video for a different time. But if they made this game and advertised it not as a Naruto or Boruto game, but as a fighting game with a Naruto skin, I think there isn't anything but success for a game like that. I mean, look at Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's going on to be 3 years old. The anime isn't being made anymore, but yet the Dragon Ball franchise is doing so well. I believe a Naruto Fighter style game would just revive the Naruto franchise as a whole, and would even help the Boruto franchise. If Naruto FighterZ had Boruto characters in it at launch and added even more for DLC, I think it could help Boruto in a big way. Moral of the story, Bandai, give the freaking people what they want and stop giving us stinky ass anime games. Now before we go, I just want to talk about a few things off script, because basically this was my first fully scripted video, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have gotten this far, it really does mean a lot. Be sure also, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. It really helps the channel out, and more videos to come like this. But I had a few more thoughts after I finished the script. I also threw up a few polls, what kind of Naruto game most people would want on Twitter and YouTube. I obviously don't have the biggest audience currently, so I only got so many people to vote on the polls, but I had 3 tiers. Obviously, as you can see in both polls, Naruto FighterZ is leading, but a lot of comments actually were saying most people would like to see an RPG, MMO, open world Naruto game, which personally, I think would also be pretty freaking dope. I've seen in the community, most people are split between what kind of Naruto game they want. They either want a Naruto FighterZ or they want an MMORPG Naruto game, which I actually think could be pretty sick as well. Speaking of an MMORPG Naruto game, I think a Genshin Impact style Naruto game would also be really cool, because like it's open world, right? You have your missions, which you can have Naruto, you can have A, B, C, you can have the rank missions, right? And then you can have like 4 people in your squad. You have your squad leader, and your 3 squad mates, or you can just have 3 people. But nonetheless, that's a pretty cool freaking concept. The Genshin Impact style Naruto game, I'd take that as well. But yeah, most of this video was just my opinion, guys. I do think a Naruto FighterZ game could definitely help the Naruto franchise. I'm not too sure how much it would help, but I don't know. I just feel like a competitive style game like Naruto FighterZ can definitely just bring more people into into the Naruto series. But yeah, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said earlier, leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.